Tom Lee is one of the most well-respected fund managers in the space, and he just went on recently and talked about Bitcoin, where he thinks it's going, and why he's very bullish on it. I want to play that for you. Also go through some of the cryptos that could do really well, that could help you retire. If you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on the bell notification underneath the video so you can see future videos just like this. If you do want to amplify your returns, you can check out the link underneath the video to MargeX, where you can trade cryptocurrency using leverage. You can short the market, you can long the market, whatever you want. There are a bunch of different trades, a bunch of different assets that you can trade on the platform, and they're doing a big airdrop right now, up to $5,000, which means if you just trade, you get part of this $5,000. The more you trade, the more you get. So if you do a bunch of volume, you could get up to $5,000. There's also a link to CoinW as well underneath the video, where you can trade cryptocurrencies using leverage, or you can trade spot. They're also doing a airdrop. You can get up to 150 ton tokens, which is the Telegram token. There's also a link to WEEX down there too. A lot of people have been liking WEEX, WEEX. All right, let's start here with Tom Lee talking about his end-of-year price targets on Bitcoin. He had covered where he thinks the S&P 500 is going before this, in case they make reference to it. But then we'll be going through some of the top news from today with Bitcoin, and also some other cryptos that you may be wanting to look at or invest in if you want huge gains during this bull market. So let's start here.
You know that my insecurity about crypto manifested itself again in my feet of clay, because I said, Tom Lee's going to be absolutely right about the 5,500. Why is he still saying 150 for Bitcoin? Why do that? Why not just focus on stock? Don't stick your neck out, because it was falling below 60,000. Now it's back to almost 63,000. So that 6 trillion we just talked about, that sort of plays into your Bitcoin thesis.
That's right. Bitcoin's probably suffering from the Mt. Gox, starting distributions in July. That was a huge overhang for many years. But if I was investing in crypto knowing that one of the biggest overhangs is going to disappear in July, I think it's a reason to actually expect a pretty sharp rebound in the second half. So I think, 150 is still within.
It's already July 1st. So that's so you're not taking that off the table. That's still a possibility.
That's right. And, one thing to keep in mind, Bitcoin makes most of its gains with 10 days every year. If you take out the 10 best days in a single year, Bitcoin actually has negative returns.
Okay, so Tom Lee makes a couple of good points there. The majority of the gains in Bitcoin come over 10 days. Like, we have some massive days where we're up 10, 20%, sometimes even more. And usually that's after some big announcements. Now, to be clear, that happens in a lot of assets, especially that higher volatility assets. Like if you just look at Tesla or an Nvidia, the majority of the gains happen in just a few days. And be fair too, the majority of the losses come in a few days if we're down at some specific point. But he's expecting 150,000 by the end of the year. Okay, from here, that would be a 2.3x. So that would be 130% gain over the next 6 months, 5 months, 5.5 months. So that's crazy. It sounds crazy, right? I'm not quite that aggressive with my price targets, and part of it is I think it's better to be on the lower side. But as you can see, like the ETFs bought a lot of Bitcoin yesterday, 400 million. Yesterday it was 300 million. Who knows what it is today? But they're buying a third of $1 billion each day this week. So yeah, that may cause some extra pressure to the upside. And he talked about how one of the overhangs is Mt. Gox. Supposedly, repayments have already started. Some people are saying 65% Mt. Gox creditors have already been repaid and prices up. Maybe this is just trying to get people excited. Maybe it's because they're talking about like 13,000 creditors have been repaid today. But also, you don't know how much they're going through, right? You don't know if these are just people that were owed like a quarter of a Bitcoin versus 25 Bitcoin. So it's hard to tell exactly how much Bitcoin's been repaid. Some people say, oh, there's not really any Bitcoin being repaid yet. It's just going to like the exchanges, right? And then the exchanges haven't distributed it yet. So it's hard to tell exactly how much Bitcoin is being sent out. But Prish Hodl says, keep in mind, these are the people that understood Bitcoin enough to take the risk and buy it a decade ago. These are the originals. He predicts that the overall sell pressure will be less than 50% of Germany's, and it will be distributed over 6 months. Yeah, if you are someone getting this, maybe you take some profits. Maybe you wait a year until you think the cycle top is in, right? Or maybe you just set up some sell orders throughout the entire next year, like every month sell some. That's probably what I'd do if I was significantly up on the Bitcoin. But part of it would come down to, okay, did I have Bitcoin outside of the exchange too, right? How's the rest of my portfolio look? Did I buy Bitcoin the very next year in 2016 and then I've been able to take profits on that, or I've just held and I have a huge bag? So it's hard to tell, but keep in mind we have all these bullish things happening. First of all, German government done selling. Bitcoin ETF inflows remain strong. US president election is coming up with Trump with a likely win, and he is very pro Bitcoin, pro crypto. Trump speaking at the conference, so that's going to be pretty crazy. FTX repaying creditors that will probably inject that money back into crypto. Liquidity cycle is showing that we should actually see increased liquidity, and Bitcoin does really well and increased liquidity. Spot ETFs for Ethereum are going live. Goldman Sachs is launching 3 tokenization projects, rate cuts. So yeah, there's a lot of excitement. I think Bitcoin is going to do very well throughout the rest of the year. And, this cycle, I think it's going to do quite well. So that is one money-making opportunity. If you have $10,000, are you going to retire on Bitcoin? Probably not. At least not right now. Like if we even, let's say we go up to 200,000, that's about a 3x. You have $10,000 in Bitcoin, which is 0.15 Bitcoin. You're not going to retire on 0.15 Bitcoin this cycle, most likely, right? Like that would be $30,000 at 200, $30,000 at a $200,000 Bitcoin. So not enough to retire. Now, if you leverage that and you get some good returns, you get lucky a bit too. Maybe you make more than that. But what's more likely is you build that base. You build that base of retirement by getting a solid 3x or 2x on Bitcoin. Now, the key is you do need to take profits, right? If you do want to not have to sit through the entire next bear market. Now, some people want to just hold on forever, and that's okay. But just something to consider. Now, where we're going to get bigger returns is most likely the altcoin market, right? Bitcoin dominance has been very high for a long time, and I'm kind of under the expectation that we're not going to see the same altcoin market that we've seen in the past. I don't think everything's going to go up, but there are going to be some winners that just do insane gains. We have Ethereum ETF filings expected today, and we have apparently the ETH ETFs going live in less than a week. I would not be surprised if this excites the market, especially if we see some pretty good data from the first week or two from these ETH ETFs. I would not be surprised too if GBTC or if Grayscale dumps, right? ETH, or no, it's ETH is Grayscale's. But I would not be surprised if they dump some Ethereum too, if their clients dump some. But this could lead to other altcoins like Solana, which has been the darling of this cycle, doing really well. I mean, it's up 20x from the bottom, but still, to get to Ethereum's market cap, it'd have to be around $900 per Solana. And I'm not saying that it necessarily will hit that level, but from what I can see and from what I've talked to analysts about, a lot of people think maybe 600 is where we're going to land on Solana this cycle, which is a nice 4x from here. And if you were able to buy a couple days ago when we were at 120, that's a 5x. Now, it's hard to time it to the perfect top, but that's still a good gain overall. It's better than Bitcoin, a 2 or 3x. But take a look at this. Grayscale decentralized AI fund components were a basket of the following assets and weights: BitTensor, Filecoin, LivePeer, Near, Render. So they're making a decentralized AI fund. That's pretty interesting. I mean, let's just take a look at Near Crypto, and just look at the market cap here. So pretty large market cap, 7 billion. Let's look at Render. So Render, same thing. I mean, pretty large market cap, just under 3 billion. BitTensor, same thing, a couple $1 billion market cap. The fact is, these are still relatively small compared to some of the market caps we've seen in the past cycles. Like, just look at where Dogecoin went at the peak of it, the last cycle. It went up to a $80 billion market cap. So if, I don't know, if Render goes up to an $80 billion market cap, that's about 25x from here, 30x. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, that is a $150 render, a $200 render. So I'm not saying necessarily that it will get to that point, right? There's a lot of excitement with Dogecoin last cycle, but keep in mind, like, that's last cycle too. Each cycle typically is better than the last. So it's not crazy to think that there are some 10, 20x's in some like mid-range alts right now. So it will be interesting to watch, but I like to see where the money's flowing, where big entities are putting their chips, right? Where they're investing their time and money and efforts and advertising into. And AI obviously has been huge over the last couple of years, specifically the last year with NVIDIA doing so well. Avalanche, also, I sometimes even forget this happened, but Avalanche 6-7 months ago announced a $100 million meme coin fund. And what's done really well this year, meme coins. Like, meme coins are probably the best performing asset class in crypto, which is crazy to think about, but it's true. Some of them have done insane gains throughout the year. Let's just scroll out here. 90 day. Let's just look at the 90 day. I bet you meme coins are, Mog, Pepe, Brett, Bonk. Like, 4 of the top 5 coins are meme coins. So the fact is, meme coins will probably continue doing well. They garner a lot of attention. A lot of people pay attention to them, and they're easy to buy. They're easy to understand compared to some other cryptos too. I would throw just good L1s in the mix here too, but again, I think they're going to be less winners this time around, and they're going to win more. So it's more of a winner take all cycle, in my opinion. But yeah, it's been interesting to watch the cycle progress. Keep in mind that we are getting ready for I want to say the second half of the cycle, again, because I'm more cautious. Some people say the cycle hasn't even started. We're like a year and a half away from the end of the cycle. That's what some people think. So it will be interesting. But if you invest in some of these cryptos, like, you can hit it big, whether it's a meme coin or whether it is, some AI token or a layer one. And I'm not saying that you should necessarily go invest in these. You have to do your own research, but there will be significant winners this next cycle. I think generally, if you invest even in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, like the big names, you're probably going to do well. The majority of my portfolio is in Bitcoin, just to be clear. I do trade a bit on with leverage. I also have some altcoin positions as well that are smaller parts of my portfolio, but the majority of my portfolio is weighted down by Bitcoin. Let me know your thoughts on all this underneath the video, though. Thank you so much for watching. Check out the links to Margex, to CoinW underneath the video. If you do want a ticket to the Bitcoin conference, there's a link underneath the video where you can get an extra 10% off with my code. Just make sure you use that code. Thank you so much. I'll see you all in the next video.